and Guy, I will end this thought with another tweet. It's Archimedes, 2,500 years ago. He said, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum upon which to place it, I can move the world. Okay, the fulcrum is Bitcoin, $1 trillion crypto asset that nobody on earth can screw with. That's the hard point of leverage. The lever is literally the $10 billion that Apple has on their
Hmm.
balance sheet, or $1 billion loan. If Apple just borrowed, didn't they borrow like $30 billion at a blended cost of capital, like 2.5% or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It makes you really wonder what. Yeah, yes. I'm going to say this, and I've written about this. I say it all the time. Every fiat currency in the history of mankind since the Roman Empire has ended in disaster. And you just mentioned Zimbabwe and Argentina, and Michael Burry's writing about the similarities between what's going on here today and sort of the Weimar Republic. There are a lot of scary things out there, but there'll be people that have watched this for the last 50 minutes and say, you never really asked Michael a tough question. Well, first of all, I'm not a journalist, number one, but number two, we're having a conversation. But if you want the tough question, my question is this: what's the existential risk here? Because I know that you think about this as well, just being the thoughtful person you are. What derails the
Here
story that
comes the
we've spent the last
Godzilla
50 minutes
and
talking
the
about?
pinball game.
If you're intellectually honest, you have to say a black swan, an unknown can never be discounted, right? Only a fool would discount an unknown. Um, Otherwise, I think that there isn't an existential, there isn't a risk I see in front of me. I see a lot of FUD. I
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt, and noise as the society accommodates this new asset. I look at Bitcoin, I look at it like compressed air or electricity or hygienic water. Or communications lines. They're all new things, and in the decade when you introduce the automobile, the airplane, the electric power, the hygienic plumbing, people push back. It's like, is it going to, I'm like, is it going to electrocute me? Is it going to burn my house down? It's noisy, it's dirty. It's, people talk about, our cars polluting. Well, horses are polluting, right? The society is going to have to adjust for a decade, and there'll be a lot of noise and pushback around that. And otherwise, I think that at $1 trillion, this is an idea whose time has come. I just can't see how anything's stopping it. I think there's just going to be some colorful sparks on the periphery.
I know, reading about you, listening to you, interviewing you at CNBC a few weeks ago, I know that you're sincere in your wishes to make the world a better place. And I want you to speak to that. I want you to speak to Saylor.org and the free academy for education that you've set up as well, because I think people would find that really interesting, Michael.
Okay. Well, I mean, Guy, first of all, economically, I think that the single best way to make the world a better place is 7.8 billion people are working in currencies that are weakening. The best one in the world is weakening at 15 to 20% a year, and the others are weakening faster. And so an open monetary network, Bitcoin, that could go to all 7.8 billion people and provide them with a store of value, a strong financial asset that they can carry on their mobile phone, that's going to do more good to the human race than anything I can think of. Now, in terms of, and that's my vocational interest. My avocational interest is I have a charity, a nonprofit foundation called the Saylor Academy, and I don't have any heirs, so when I die, all of my assets go into this foundation. And the mission of this foundation is make education free for everybody forever. And so my general view is, if you want to make the world a better place, right, provide people with infinite free education so they can reach their full potential. I don't see any reason why you should have to pay large sums of money to learn calculus. I mean, Isaac Newton invented all of it 300 years ago, and it's all should be in the open, public domain. I don't think people ought to have to pay any money to be a computer programmer or to learn the English language or to learn to speak or to think or logic.
So, unless you've been living under a rock or on a deserted island somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, anywhere in the middle of Australian deserts, then you must know who Michael Saylor is. So, there he is. That's the man. You can find countless interviews of him, guys, with a ton of amazing people, either journalists, huge crypto investors who know a ton about crypto. I mean, Michael Saylor, is the man who kicked the lid off with huge investments. He runs MicroStrategy, and he owns 91,000 bitcoins at anywhere from $40, $50 to $60,000 a piece. He bought them for, guys. So there it is. There you have it. Look him up. There's his name. Look into it.
Wow.
I'm Jada Blur. Until next.